the game or anything like that. But it was just odd because it was like when it was an argument, we had to argue versus Andrew Bynum, who sucks.
Now,
like right now, I can only say the only power forward playing better than Blake Griffin right now is Kevin Love. Before it was Aldridge, and now I can't with good conscience say that LaMarcus Aldridge is playing better than than Blake Griffin. Like, if I say it, I cringe a little bit.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think Aldridge can do more, but I think Blake Griffin's having a better year. Like, Blake showed me a lot this year. Like, he's proven to me that he deserves to be considered a good player. I don't think he's quite as good as everybody thinks he is, but I'm coming around on him because he's shown me a lot this year. So Blake Griffin will be off my list very shortly.
Yeah, I understand why he's on the list, but he is a lot younger than the other guys too. I will say that.
Yeah, he's 25. Like he's I believe he's 25. Let me double check that real quick. If he's not entering his prime, he's a year away from entering his prime.
Yeah, like Aldridge is a way into his prime.
Yeah. Blake Griffin 24, by the way. Yeah, Blake Griffin 24, by the way. So if he's not entering his prime, he's a year away from it. He's a year away from entering his prime. So he still has room to improve, which is why he has the capacity to jump off of this list without too much of a difficulty. And now, it's interesting that you brought up Dwight Howard earlier, because he is the list topper. I believe that Dwight Howard is the most overrated player in the NBA. Fact. He gets...
I understand, yeah.
I
think with him is, because he's such a, out of the centers, he's at the top, but it's like, or close to the top, for at least most people. Yeah, I see why. It's like, because he's like the number one center, it's like, oh my gosh, now he's so great. It doesn't mean that much out of a pool of that centers.
See, I don't think he's even the best center in the league. Well, actually, I should convey my argument as to why I don't think Dwight Howard is the number one, is not only not the best center in the league, but the most overrated player in the NBA. Dwight Howard is 28, 29 years of age, so he is firmly entrenched in his prime. I have never seen him try to develop a face-up game of any kind. Ever. Like, he just doesn't do it. His range is 8 feet and closer. He still has very good footwork. He can jump through the roof, and he's a great rim protector defensively and a very, very good rebounder. However, his offensive game is so limited that I just look at him and I think, you're that athletic and that's all you can do? And people still say that you're the best center in the league? I mean, he's very good defensively in terms of rebounding and blocking shots. His timing is very good. His positioning is usually good. And, rebounding, he's good at that. His free throw percentages or his woes at that field have been well documented. Although I won't kill him for that because Ben Wallace shot like 40% from the free throw line, if that. And he won a title. So my thing for Dwight Howard is not only do I think that he personally sabotaged the Orlando Magic and got Stan Van Gundy fired and then screwed the Magic over by leaving, but I also am not a fan of how he conducts himself on the court. I think Dwight Howard is a guy who's more interested in being famous than being great. And if you have those kinds of athletic gifts, then I think they're better used off of a guy who wants to work harder. Like, I think Dwight Howard's defensive prowess would be better suited for Blake Griffin because Blake Griffin, to me, has proven that he wants to work harder at it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I do think, because out of all the centers, see, I do agree he's overrated in that. To me, he's it's like when you go to a party, right? No, it's like when you go to Peace. I haven't been to Peace in a while, so I have to throw a little shade.
Me neither, so that's okay. Oh, all right. So we're full disclosure to all of those listening. Lamar Francis and I, both former students of Pace University. We haven't been there in a little bit, but that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Exactly. There's reasons. I have reasons. So if you go to Peace, right, and you see this girl, it's like, oh my god. Well, at first you're like, oh my gosh, she looks so good, and you realize it's not because she looks great. It's because out of the pool of girls, she's the best. I mean, because me personally, I don't I don't really know who I would actually rank over Dwight Howard. But it's just like
Marc Gasol. Marc Gasol definitely. I'd rather have Marcin Gortat personally. Actually, that's semi-blasphemous.
No.
That's semi-blasphemous. All right, that's blasphemous. All right, I'm sorry. That is blasphemous. Roy Hibbert. Marc Gasol, Roy Hibbert. Although Roy Hibbert's disappointing me, I'm not going to lie.
Only reason I can put Marc Gasol over
Larry Sanders.
the team is not in the playoffs.
No, not Larry Sanders. That was also blasphemous.
See, Marc Gasol is not in the playoffs right now. That's why I can't put him there yet.
I could put him there because he won Defensive Player of the Year. Oh, Joakim Noah is definitely better than Dwight Howard. Absolutely.
I think so.
Absolutely.
You think so. I don't think most people would think so, but I think so too. I think so. I think Dwight Howard may be more dominant because of his size and blah, 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 blah. But I think just as players, just as pure NBA players, not even going to what they can and can't do. Just there, I'd rather have Noah on my team. Some people are kind of stuck. I think that's where Dwight Howard is overrated. I think Marc Gasol is underrated. So I do think if we ever had an underrated list, he'd be in that list. But yeah,
I'm sure we'll have time to make an underrated list at some point. But that's my list from 5 to 1. Darren Williams, John Wall, Rajon Rondo, Blake Griffin, and Dwight Howard, capping everybody off as the most overrated NBA player in the league today. So congratulations, Dwight Howard. You finally won something.
All right. So we do have one in common, which you already know. So I'm going to start, since you already mentioned about it, kind of piggyback on that, which is Rondo, which I absolutely hate.
Understandably so.
He sucks offensively besides passing. But now this is my thing about Rondo. He's scoring right now about 12 points a game on about 40-something% shooting. My issue is 40%. Like, if you shoot 45%, that's actually not bad. I think LeBron has got everybody in love with like you can shoot over 50%. But I think as a guard, shooting 45% is really good. My issue is you're scoring 12 points a game at 40. If you're scoring 12 points a game as a starting point guard and you're supposed to be even just a star, you better be shooting 70%. That's how I feel. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, if he shot like 60%, then I'm like, oh, okay, he's just not shooting often. You know, he's passing a lot. I think he can't shoot. I think if you play him right, I think if you just play often and you play confidently enough, I think the only reason he actually gets really effective is when he has a lot of great players around him. And it's not because you can't win without the team. It's because he needs people really good to pass to. And they have to be open, they have to get open. So that's just Rondo. That's whatever you got to that.
I agree with most of that. I think the only slight pushback I will give is he has the capacity to make plays for people. You know, like Avery Bradley for the Celtics, like Rondo can drive a little bit, Bradley will come off the screen, and Rondo will find him with a pretty smart pass and create an open jumper, or will find a cutting Jeff Green and get him to go to the basket. So he can make people around him better, but in terms of his one-on-one offensive capacity, if he can't get by you, he's ineffective.
Yeah.
If he can't get by and you can't pass to somebody, he's ineffective.
This is my thing. He's to me, because the thing is, he has to, for him to get off the list, he has to at least score 17 points a game. Like, to me, you're not allowed to just have 9 assists and then have 12 points just because. That's Kendall Marshall. In fact, Kendall Marshall is averaging more assists than Rondo is right now.
This is true.
So, and he's averaging 2.5 points less. So, I mean, I think his issue, because the thing is, on his team, he had Ray Allen, he had Paul Pierce, he had Kevin Garnett. I think he just has to score more. To me, he's just a glorified, not even a better version, just a glorified version of Ricky Rubio, the same player, except for Rondo just gets done. That's it. Because Rondo's black.
I'll push back a little bit on that. Rondo it can score so much better than Rubio can. Rick Rubio has the passing capacity of Steve Nash but has the shooting capacity of me.
This is true. I mean, Ricky Rubio will not score sometimes, but I mean, Rondo can. He has the capacity to, but does he? That's where I'm kind of like iffy. I mean,
no, like you won't get like I believe Rondo's overrated too. It's just there are a couple of different things I have to because I still think he's a pretty good player.
Yeah, I mean he's up there, but I mean, so if you go to my second, my other guy, the other overrated player, which I told you about, was Derrick Rose. And I'm not even going off because he's been hurt. I'm not one of those. I'm going off simply when he was in the league. He won an MVP. He shouldn't have got that. Even though I didn't want LeBron to get it that year, I'm not gonna lie.
They weren't going to give it to anyone else besides the two of them that year.
Yeah, and I think they wanted to give it to somebody else that year.
Yes.
I think, and it's not. Again, I don't. If a player is very productive, and he may have deficiencies in some parts of his game, I'm okay with that. But his issue is that he wasn't really that great of a passer. I mean, granted, he didn't have a lot of people to pass to, they were just wide open shooters and stuff, but he had people. And it's not like he was that great of a passer, he was known more of a scorer. He was known more of like Allen Iverson kind of player, that kind of point guard. Even though Allen Iverson technically played shooting guard, but he was that kind of player, except he wasn't Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson averaged 30 points a game at one point. Allen Iverson was always one of the top 1, 2, or 3 scorers in the league. Derrick Rose was a scoring point guard who would score like 23 a game as the best player on his team. He literally had Westbrook's stats, except less assists than Westbrook. And Westbrook is not the best player on the team. So, it's not, if Westbrook was the best player on the team, Westbrook would probably drop 28 points a game, because, he used to have more of a green light, there'd be more shots coming his way. I think Derrick Rose was so electrifying, and he was the first of his ilk in the NBA, to that amount of athleticism, and then Westbrook came in. And so Westbrook was kind of shunned because we already had Rose. It's we had Rose already, so we don't care about shooters. And I think Derrick Rose is just really overrated. He's very loved. Like you say, he's the most loved player. No city loves his player, their player more than Chicago loves Derrick Rose.
I absolutely believe that, yes.
That is from you.
That is 110. I wholeheartedly stand behind that statement. No sports fan base loves a player more than the Chicago Bulls fans love Derrick Rose.
And it's kind of weird. Not weird. I mean, he's from Chicago. And he's worked with. It's just
that's why.
Oh, whatever. So that's Derrick Rose, right?
Yeah. So Rose is on the list for absolutely. I mean, I'll see that one. All right. Who else you got?
All right. So my third player, I'm trying to. Since I couldn't really rank them, I'm putting them to more popularity as they get on. One is somebody you love, which is Roy Hibbert.
Okay.
Because I think it's for some reason he only plays really good against the Heat.
Because the Heat can't rebound.
All of a sudden it's Shaquille O'Neal.
Because the Heat are last in the league in rebounding consistently. We're up against it. No, I understand where you're coming from on Hibbert, and he's worried me. I believe the only way Indiana beats Miami this year is if Hibbert goes for 24 and 12. But every time I watch him, I'm less and less convinced he can do that. All right, so we're up against it, so we got to go with the last two real quick.
Okay. So if he has Roy Hibbert, he's averaging 11 points, 7 rebounds a game.
That's not good.
He's really good defensively.
Yeah.
Against the post players, so that's pretty much it. So second to whatever will be Paul George.
Yeah.
My guy.
We were all collectively too quick to give him put him in the LeBron Durant stratosphere.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as
we got 10 seconds. Hurry up.
Yeah, I mean, he had a great playoff run, and he felt really good. He's probably one of the best defenders in the NBA.